Hello and welcome to the Crypto Insider interview. I am Vlad and today my guests are Max and Roman, who are the co-founders of HodlHodl or HodlHodl or HodlHodl. Actually, I have no idea how it's pronounced, but I'm going to allow them to let me know. And just so you know about HodlHodl, it's like the original vision of what local Bitcoins should be. And I'm glad that they are also part of the sponsors who help Crypto Insider function properly. So, hello, gentlemen.
Thanks for having
Hi,
us, Vlad.
Rod. Thanks for having us. HodlHodl. So basically, just like that.
So, it's HodlHodl.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, it's always different when you watch a report on mainstream media and they say HODL, and you're never really sure how people are supposed to pronounce it. But it's good to find out the original pronunciation and the official way of saying huddle.
Well, there's no really an official way. I think it depends on which part of the world you're from, and in our language it sounds slightly different than it sounds in English, which is fine. And we have no problem with people mispronouncing the name, because it's weird enough already. So let's complicate this.
So, how does it work that you are able to allow users to transact bitcoins and exchange for fiat, but you require no KYC?
Um, I will start. First of all, we don't hold any user funds, so we don't process nor bitcoins nor fiat. That allows us to not to do KYC/ML because we don't touch any funds. Instead of working as a centralized exchange, custodial exchange to be more precise, we are working as a non-custodial exchange. So for each trade, we create unique multi-sig escrow address on the public Bitcoin blockchain, and so the trades occur through that address. This address has three signatures. One signature goes to the buyer, one signature goes to the seller, and one to HodlHodl. So in order to move funds out of that escrow account, you need to have at least two signatures, or two keys, as we say. So in that sense, we just provide technical solutions to facilitate the trade or to help trade occur. So instead of trading within our wallet like users do on local Bitcoins or Paxful, we don't do that. We don't have any wallets at all, no cold storages, no anything. So we don't process and we don't touch user funds. That also, to be honest, increases security level, because in case of some kind of breaches on HodlHodl, the people who will get to our database or to our servers, they will be able only to have one key out of three, and without agreement from another side like buyer or the seller, they won't be able to move any coins from these escrow accounts. Also, we have a jurisdiction which allows us to work without any KYC/ML, and I think these are two main reasons why we don't request any KYC/ML, and we are not planning to do that in the future as well.
So, what is this magical jurisdiction which somehow allows service providers in crypto not to gather data of their users?
To be honest, it's not magical. It's just one of the offshore jurisdictions. It's Marshall Islands. So and we work out of that jurisdiction, out of that region.
Yeah, it's fascinating because you hear all these opinions of service providers, and I think the most controversial case was with Shapeshift, which used to be very cypherpunk and allowed users to exchange trustlessly and without providing data, a cryptocurrency into the other. And then they just announced as an American company that they are supposed to get the private information of people. It also happened with blockchain.com, which is starting to collect as much data, and they even gave away $25 worth of stellar lumens as a way to maybe bribe the users to sign up with their KYC data. So it's very interesting that in 2019, when a lot of companies actually try to collect as much data about their users as possible, you're able to provide something useful to the community that is simultaneously trustless, because you don't really hold funds and you're just the trustless intermediaries who operate through a code. And you also give something to the community that matters, that they can use. And I actually wrote an article about this, that Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency that is not really fungible and is not private at all actually requires swaps for cash, just because the adoption has not gotten to the point where everybody accepts Bitcoin. And cash is liquid, is fast, everybody agrees that it has value. If you need to buy something from the grocery store, you don't have to bargain with the seller and tell them that you're going to give them Bitcoin. You just do a quick cash swap. But in order for this to happen, we need to build these small communities. Like, I guess this was the intention of local Bitcoins, but in the process they faced the regulations. I think they are from Finland or something.
Yeah, but again, the main reason in our case is not the jurisdiction itself. The main reason is the process that we have managed to create, the process of helping out to trade, to exchange Bitcoin to fiat and back. So I think that's the main advantage. It's not jurisdiction.
So what kind of backgrounds do you guys have, and how did you come across this idea of enabling users to transact cryptocurrencies? Especially, I think you support Bitcoin and Litecoin, and you allow them to meet in a way that they can exchange their crypto for fiat and also do quick swaps without a trusted third party.
Yeah, we support Bitcoin, Litecoin, but we are like mostly focused on Bitcoin because Litecoin is not our primary focus. I'm from finance industry, so for 10 years I've been working in asset management companies, wealth management companies, and banking industry. So I think Roma can tell something about himself.
Right. So I've been working on various Bitcoin projects since 2013, I think. And I met Max when we worked at the same company for a while, and at the time we both used local Bitcoins, and we weren't completely satisfied with a number of things in local Bitcoins. We saw that we could improve this whole thing. First of all, by creating an exchange that doesn't hold the funds, that doesn't hold the Bitcoins. And another thing is that we realized sooner or later local Bitcoins are going to cave in to the regulators and introduce KYC ML. And that is also something we thought we can avoid by creating an exchange that is not a money transmitter, that doesn't hold Bitcoins or fiat money, and just matches users from all over the world. So I think that was the initial idea, and we've been working on it since, was it 2016? And it was a very slow process because it was just me and Max in the beginning. And then slowly and gradually we began to add new employees and new developers to the team. And here we are running HodlHodl.
That's actually impressive, and you have had just a short amount of time between development and releasing the product. And what I want to ask you right now is, as long as you can disclose it, of course, how much trading volume do you have on HodlHodl? How many users actually use your service, and what kind of amounts of Bitcoins get exchanged on a daily basis?
Yeah, so we usually don't Like we don't disclose this information, although we publish some of the facts and figures on our Twitter and our blog. Why we don't do that? Because again, we are a bit crazy about the privacy issues and confidentiality issues. To be honest, I can tell you rough numbers that like for this 1 year that we've been actively running an exchange, we've had like the volume was a bit more than 2,000 Bitcoins exchanged during the year, and we had, I think, more than 7 or 8,000 registered users, more than 1,000 offers published on HodlHodl. So more than 1,000 options to buy or to sell Bitcoins. These are just rough numbers because we do update that once in a while, but I don't have these figures by hand. But to say one important feature, we don't invest in marketing at all. So we don't spend any money on the marketing and promoting HodlHodl. HodlHodl works by the support of community. So people are recommending to each other HodlHodl. So if one person likes HodlHodl, he usually brings some of his like trusted traders and trusted partners to HodlHodl. That's how we are working, and that's how we're like developing our platform. We're trying to build a loyal customer base, and actually we've succeeded in that because we see that people who onboarded to HodlHodl, they usually, if they made like one or two or a few trades, they usually don't leave. They continue to use our platform, even though we don't have like huge numbers in terms of providing the liquidity. Still, we're growing, and we hope that in 1 year or in a few months from now, we will be able to increase our liquidity to provide a proper trading ground for people to buy or to sell Bitcoin.
So what is the best kind of feedback that you ever got from the community, like stories involving your service and how it helped other people?
Well, like I cannot say what the best feedback, but overall there's like usually in Twitter or somewhere, or when we go to any conference, people are like that are not familiar with us. They say like, "Hey, we're using HodlHodl. It's good and so convenient and so secure." So I cannot like remember any particular story, but we see that there's a huge support.
Hello? I think I lost you there.
For example, but
I don't hear you anymore. I don't know what happened.
Okay, I think it's on the problem's on the Max side. I lost him as well. Okay, let's wait. Maybe he can answer the question. But you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, yeah. Let's wait a little bit. I think Max is going to be back out. Maybe I can start answering that question while Max is flying. So what was the question? Because I only heard like the second half of it.
Yeah, it was about getting good feedback from the community and being able to respond to them through this interview. You know, like you had a good story about somebody who was able to send funds like from Venezuela or something, and you felt proud at that moment that you're offering the kind of service that allows people to gain financial sovereignty. I think that's what my intention was.
We have a lot of very good feedback on Twitter and other places on Reddit as well. I also think I don't want to sound pessimistic. I'm a realist, and I think a lot of people who give us good feedback and are not necessarily our users. They recognize that we are working hard and we are creating a really interesting and secure product, but they might not be our users. At the same time, those people who are actually using us, they're giving us a much more valuable feedback in the sense that they are our users. You know, they pay us exchange fees and we earn money by helping them trade Bitcoins, and that's really the best feedback you can get. They like continuous trading, continuous business from these individuals. So I'm really happy that we are getting both of these kinds of feedbacks, you know, from people who are not necessarily users and from people who are our users.
Guys, I'm back. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah, so in the meantime, I got the continuation for your reply.
Yeah, that's good.
It's really nice when you have somebody to complete whatever you started.
Yeah, that happens.
Okay, so I was about to ask you, wait, I forgot one of the questions, but I'm going to move on to another one. How would you compare the service in terms of efficiency with local Bitcoins right now? Even if you take away the KYC, would you say that you offer anything which is like a bonus or something that speeds up the process?
Sorry, can you like ask the question once again? I was disconnected for a while.
Okay, so your competitive advantage in comparison to local Bitcoins, even if we disregard the KYC component.
I think that the main competitive advantage, again, as I mentioned, we're non-custodial, so we don't hold any funds. So, as I mentioned previously, if we will be hacked, then the person, the hacker, you won't be able to move coins from escrow, from ongoing trades, because again, we don't have any storages yet. So that's the main difference. So security issue is number one in our case. Difference between us and local Bitcoins. Another thing is that we are almost twice cheaper than local Bitcoins. So local Bitcoins charges 1% per trade. We charge maximum 0.6% per trade. And there's also differences between UI, UX. We are striving to make our interface, our user experience, our platform way more simpler than other competitors out there. But of course, like any consumer-oriented company can say that their UI and UX is better. But I think three main advantages: that number one, we don't hold any funds; number two, we don't do any KYC AML; and number three, we are cheaper.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because there might be some users who don't really care about KYC, and maybe that they come from Coinbase or some other service which does KYC by default, and if they seek something that is advantageous to them, then they might be looking for the fees. So now that you mentioned the fees, that's a good answer.
To be honest, the fees are like, as we experienced that during the past year of our work, the fees are, I think, the people are less concerned about the fees usually. Because, you know, if the question is always into laziness of person or not willing to learn something new. You know, when you're using one platform to trade like for 3 years, for 4 years, even if they will raise like their fees, I don't know, like for 50% or something like that, you still will. You may still be with them. I think the main reason is KYC AML, because in crypto community, there's a lot of people who are not willing to share their data with any service provider. So I think that's one of the advantages for average trader or for general public. And for more sophisticated traders, of course, the security measures that we have are our main competitive advantage. But the fees are like less.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Max, and I would also add that there's an amount of inertia that we see in traders on local Bitcoins, for example, whom we talk to often, and we offer them to use HodlHodl instead because of the advantages that we just mentioned. And some of them, not all of them, but some of them are like, nah, we're going to stay with local Bitcoins. Why? Because they are really, they're used to it. It's for them. They might not necessarily be Bitcoin enthusiasts who really care about KYC/ML or that HodlHodl doesn't hold any funds. Some of them are just really traders, and for them, even if we have lower fees, it's quite difficult. And this is actually part of the reason we understood that HodlHodl needs to move in some other directions in terms of the products that we offer. We realized that local Bitcoins, despite all the disadvantages that it has, is probably going to stay a large player in the peer-to-peer market. So HodlHodl is working on other products, and I don't know if you've seen our announcements, but we'll be happy to talk about that as well.
Okay, the next question that I have for you is somewhat of a joke, but I'm looking for funny answers. How did you resist the idea and the temptation to not ICO and issue some kind of token which allowed users to have a discount in their transactions?
That's actually quite simple. We don't believe in any ICO, and we don't think it's a proper way to raise funds. There's some ethics in that, so underlying for us, because still I think when you make fast money and it's always a problem. So in our case, we just wanted to stay away from legal problems that are usually connected with ICO and a lot of stuff. So quite easy. We do understand that our community, our customers, people with whom we interact on a daily basis, they want to understand if we make ICO, because we are Bitcoin focused company, and you don't have many Bitcoin focused company that are doing ICO and a lot of stuff. And the second thing is, of course, legal issues, because you see now that some of the ICOs are being prosecuted, and I think we are not even in the beginning of that. I think like in 1 year time, we will see many legal cases based on what ICO did, and people will be prosecuted for that, because I think it's a legal trap, and it's a huge risk, to be honest, to do that. So yeah, it's quite simple.
Okay. So can you disclose any information about the countries where your service is most popular?
Yeah, it's like nothing special. Most of the countries are European Union. In particular, we see a huge increase from Russia. Because we are also oriented to Russian-speaking markets, because we have a Russian support team, we have a Russian interface, we know the community, and we see that Russia actually occur for a second country that trades the most on the crypto markets. So definitely Russia. Also, we see increase from Europe. Mostly Eastern Europe and Latin America, some Africa, countries and Asia as well. So mostly these are emerging markets, and we are actually more interested in working with emerging markets. Oh, and of course Canada. We have some some brokers, OTC brokers that are using us, and we have some traders that are using us, Canadians, and we're going to launch a trading week in the beginning of April for Canada-based brokers and traders. So Canada definitely is one of the markets as well.
That sounds promising. You have quite a lot of users then. So my last question, I guess, because I think we've covered a lot and we have spoken for almost 30 minutes, but my last question is designed to be somewhat of an advertisement for the referral link for Crypto Insider. As I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, we are somewhat partners, and anyone who visits the Crypto Insider webpage can click on the banner which says HodlHodl. And if you don't do that, you can just sign up with your... I think the only requirement for an account is your email, right?
Yeah,
and
email.
You can sign up with your email and input the referral code Insider. And what is the advantage that you get with the referral codes?
You will get a lifetime discount. So usually if you will register or sign up without any referral code, you will have a 0.6% trading fee. With the referral code, you will have 0.55% trading fee, and this will be for a lifetime. So that's the main advantage.
Yeah, and I guess that's going to matter if hyper Bitcoinization ever happens and every Satoshi counts.
I think hyper Bitcoinization is only a question of time, and it already matters. So just people start. I think that they need to be more careful in paying bigger fees, like to our competitors. So just join HodlHodl, cheaper, way more secure, no KYC ML.
Yeah, and if you want to save on fees, you can also sign up through Crypto Insider, which is beneficial for both sides. So thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm going to post this interview on YouTube. And maybe I can add some pictures so the listeners know who's talking.
We will send you some pictures as well. So I will find a beautiful picture of me, and hopefully Roman will find one picture of him as well.
I couldn't ask for more. So thank you very much. This was really great.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Cheers.